Mm. Peace, family. It's your boy Gerald. It is approximately 5:25 Hawaii Standard Time. Up. I'm up. How are you? Good morning. I'm still on the Eastern Standard Time, so my sleep schedule has been like this since I arrived here in Hawaii last Monday. And currently I'm quarantining. Got to do 14 days to make sure that you don't have no EBGBs. But it actually is benefiting because this whole week is like a blur to me because I'm in my suite and I've taken a lot of time to really reflect on everything that has led me to this point. Watching the news. But I missed you guys. I missed you guys because I know in a town near you, city near you, state near you, worldwide, some of you were genuinely concerned about my well-being, and that can never be measured. There's no words that I can say in gratitude to thank you for that. I know that your prayers were heard, were definitely heard. So I've got a little bit of light over here. I've got light over my kitchen area. And I need to throw this little disclaimer out there too, because I don't want you two to be offended. Because I've got my little radio. Well, actually, it's my cell phone in the background. So you may hear some music in the back. So with that being said, all music media that is heard, disseminated through this video, it is used by the Fair Use Act, patent. All rights and entitlements are solely for the artist, the label, the distributor. I do not gain any financial propriety over said artistry or material. Because I know they'll turn around and say, oh, you copyright. No, give the props to the owner, which that's Sade and her label and the distributing. But yeah, so I've been here since Monday. I got here Monday afternoon or evening, which I got here about 6 p.m., which would be midnight East Coast time. And that was like the longest day ever because of the fact that I literally started my day at 3 o'clock in the morning because I had to get up, do a once over, make sure I had the things that I thought that I needed. Um, and then my flight was at uh, 6 in the morning. But, they require you to go through TSA and, just the logistics of getting to the airport and going through the due process without any delay. So sometimes it's best to allow yourself ample time. So if you have to make any adjustments, you can do so without feeling uh, any stress. But I've been thinking about you guys. I've been thinking about you guys. So in regards to that experience, I did film uh, snippets of my transition from Virginia Beach. Had a layover in Atlanta that went very smooth, and then from Atlanta, had a connector to LAX, which I had a little bit over 2 hours, and that was interesting in itself because the fact that originally when I uh, arrived, my my gate for my connector to Honolulu was actually at a satellite location. They had another location in the terminal. So in which you have to catch a shuttle to go across the tarmac, and then they board you that way. Well, that changed. So just so happened, the same place that I arrived, the same gate I arrived in, the same concourse that I was in, they actually put the plane there. So it was a little interesting. But I will tell you this though, because I would be remiss not to speak on it. You definitely see the effect of what this pandemic has done uh, socially. You definitely, it's like an ominous presence um, shared by all because, uh, granted, LAX, as you can envision it in your mind, there were people. There was people coming and going. It's an airport, and but then the busiest part of that was going through TSA, and I was originally, like I said, I thought I was going to a Terminal 3, but actually, they changed it, and so I had left Terminal 3, had to go out to turn around to go right back through TSA back to where I was, and it was crazy, but it was humbling. Peace, Lee. How are you? Um, and I'm gonna tell you what, fam. I don't know when the last time you guys have had to travel. Um, do yourself a favor. Um, before you have to go through the gauntlet of security, because the security is for you, make sure you got everything out your pockets. Make sure you take your shoes off. Fellas, take your belt off. If you got anything metallic, just take that out and put it in your carry-on. Just do yourself a solid and do that. And I noticed they have there's the Metatron, which is the Orbitron that goes around. You lift your arms up and it scans your body, and then they frisk you. I was like, wow, we've come a long way, but to the point now, you know, and that's the price to be it safe, I guess. But you know, while I was at the while I was at LAX, while I was waiting for that flight, the one thing that was evident was the economic impact that it had on um, on businesses. That was very, very obvious. Now, on the flip side, the concourse that I was at, they had countless uh, varieties of what you wanted to eat, right? And but it was literally cherry picked. It was literally like, okay, if you had 10 restaurants, no, you got two. So it was either you chose to eat there or you didn't eat. And then as for my flight, due to uh, this pandemic, all they we always used to joke about this. I mean, me being prior military, I used to travel all the time. I traveled all over the world, and you know, I mean, that has always been my life. I was always nomadic. I'll have bag, will travel, got to go do what I got to do. And I am very seasoned when it comes to hotel stays and air travel, because I was always checking in a room or stepping off a plane. But this go around, when I say when it came to accommodations for your flight, they gave you a little bottle of water. So we're talking 2, 3 ounces, enough to get maybe 2.5 swigs in. A little bag of peanuts, maybe 20 in it, and those, what do you call those things? Those chocolate covered pretzels, something like that. And that was all you got. That's all you got. Now I'm not complaining, but I did sense a come up for the airlines industry, and I'll explain. Now you think about how much you spend on your ticket, right? And then depending on how much that ticket is based off the destination will dictate if they will if they will offer breakfast, lunch, or dinner, depending on when you travel, right? Now, depending on air travel distance, you may be like on a shuttle service where no, they'll give you a soda. You might get those peanuts, right? No, the same the same the same template they when it comes to catering for a shuttle is the same protocol that they use for trans a transatlantic flight. So indirectly, the airlines may save a whole lot of money on having to invest in uh, making cuisine or for your food. They're saving a whole lot of money, so a whole lot of money. And I was like, it just blew my mind. I was like, man. But what you guys really want to know is how has it been since I arrived here? So let me tell you what, fam. So when I got here, there was nobody in the airport. And I'm not being sarcastic because the state of Hawaii has one of the tightest restrictions in regards to uh, tourists to arriving to the island. And the best way I could describe the feeling I got, well, first, once I deplaned, well, first of all, let me back it up. Before we landed, we all had to fill out an agricultural form to state if you had any any pets, fruits, vegetables, anything that came from the mainland. Then there was another form to identify if where you going, why are you here? Because the state of Hawaii has restricted tourism due to the pandemic. All so that's a major impact on uh, the revenue that they make off of hotel stays. You know, and I will tell you this for what I've seen, because I've been watching the local news a lot. You know, trying to get acclimated in my environment, and businesses are closing up left and right. And then what's so ironic about it is, you know, on one hand, you have all the federal funding that's out there to save businesses out there. You've got the PPE program, you got the SBA program that's out there. And for those people that, if you have a side business, it's not too late. Go on SBA.gov, fill out your information. It's very user friendly. All you need is your social security number in there as your. You don't need your tax ID. You don't need your LLC number or your EIN number if that's the case. Fill it out, and if you fit in one of those categories, by filling that out, you're eligible for $1,000 grant. That's free money just for filling it out. But it's been around for about 3.5, 4 weeks now. So when the money runs out, it runs out because it's a grant. But it's intended for those people that want to have if you got a business and you want a business loan, 0%. It's basically you filling out an application for that. But if you don't qualify because of the fact that you filled it out as a gratuity, they're going to give you $1,000 for free. You don't have to pay. It's a grant. You don't have to pay it back. So once I deplaned, they had two lines. You had the residential line, then you had the line for those people that are deemed as military, uh, work for the government, and you're separated. And then first thing I saw these two big uh, police officers, big dudes, like they could have just like they stepped off the football field, and they were there. And then before you even went down as it split, they immediately checked your temperature. Okay, all right, good, do your thing, because they don't want people there that should not be there. They don't want that, and I respect that. So the process um, took about less than 10 minutes after I identified who I was, why I was there. Um, then the interesting part came, and this is what I really wanted to get to. When I say there was nobody there in that airport, and Honolulu Airport is pretty big. Um, I had the feeling like a child that spent the night in a museum. You get what I'm saying? It's like, okay, the lights are off. There's no one there. There's nothing but you and imagination and opportunity. And that's how it felt. trying to find the baggage claim for my stuff. And you guys can't see it, but I've got my laptop on one of my my travel lockers. Matter of fact, I'm gonna see if I can show you. See, I had two of these, so I have two of those, and of course I have my weapons, and um, and then I also had a regular backpack, hiker pack, and then I have my other carry on, and that's got all my Jeep stuff in there. Yeah, because my Jeep's here. Actually, I have my Jeep now. I was able to get it. I did a Mission Impossible um, right before I went into quarantine, and I was able to get it. So I have possession of my Jeep. Can't wait. Get behind the wheel. And but yeah, while I was walking around in that airport, you know, it kind of felt. The best way I could describe it is like, think of the moment. You know that feeling you get like when you say, for example, you went to your favorite department store, maybe the shopping mall or something, right? And they had like an early bird sale or something, you know, and you were like one of the first people there, or maybe you're one of the last people to leave. They're shutting everything off, and you're like the last person to exit the building. That's what it felt like walking through the airport. It was weird because as I'm walking around trying to find the baggage claim, I mean, like I said, the Honolulu airport is huge. I mean, they just alone they've got 50. Yeah, they've got 55 baggage claim areas. So imagine that. And I'm thinking, I came off one area, I got this squeaky baggage cart, so there's nobody there. So the wheel is spinning and it's making this noise, and it's so empty in there that the sound of the wheel is echoing off of the building, off the room. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I just wanted to find the baggage claim to get my stuff, and then once I got my stuff, figure out how I'm going to get to where I need to get to, because I had to set up transportation. I didn't have it set up, but God made a way. God made a way, and I got here, and I'm happy. Now, I know you guys are probably wondering, well, what about the visuals? Well, you guys are gonna have to wait on that for a little bit, just for a little bit, because today is the 12th. Today's the 12th, so I got another 8 days, and then I'm officially out of quarantine, and then I'm gonna I'm gonna proverbially lose my everlasting mind. That's when the journey begins. That's when you guys gonna really, really. I'm gonna try to immerse my experience. I want to bring you guys so close to it that you should be able to smell it. That's what I want to do. But I will tell you this, family. If I can be only one way, and that's transparent. You know, the one thing that I've been doing since I've been here, like I said, I've been doing a lot of thinking, a lot of reflecting, doing a lot of planning, because I got this suite for a month, and you know, in the process, I got to set up where I'm going to reside, at least for the first year. So I'm going to be renting. I'll probably rent me a house, try to maybe find a good deal on a house. Now, I will say this, family. Hawaii is very simplistic. It's very, very, but that's just how they are. So, what your standard of quality, based off of what they project in the media, based off of what is reality, maybe a culture shock because their mentality is less as more here. That's what has always worked. And I got to respect that. But a kid that's been all over the world, a kid that has walked the streets and knows what it sounds like after it rains, I've been taught to appreciate it all and take in the moment of what's being offered. Now, I want to say this, fam. You know what? I ain't trying to be rude, but you guys are going to have to bear with me for a second because I got to use the bathroom. So give me about a minute and a half, real quick. I'll be right back. I'm just going to leave it as is, slide out of the frame, and then I'm going to get back to my point. Can can I do that? Can I do it? Huh? Can I do it? Don't bite my head off, but I'm trying to be respectful. All right. thought I'm back. I'm back. Now, appreciate your patience. Now, first of all, I don't know if you guys know, because this is live. I got my chat open. So if you got any questions, I can see them. So don't be shy. Don't be shy. So as I was saying earlier, the one thing that I realized, um, see, like I said, to let you know, um, see, hey, look, I'm on live. So this isn't a, I'm, you've got access. You've got access to me. So the one thing that I noticed, um, just being immersed, being here, is how much the economy is taking a hit because Hawaii's majority is tourism. Tourism is major here, and the one thing I've seen reported on the news is you know businesses that were pillars of the economy closing every day. Which means people that work for them, they ain't got no job. And that was really, really sad to see every day, every day, every day. But, you know, this quarantine for me has really been a blessing in a blessing in disguise. Because number one, you know, my last, uh, my last job, it was mind, body, spirit. And the one thing that, you always hear people say, literally blood, sweat, and tears. I was an example that I can't tell you how many times when you say you literally work yourself to the bone or, come home from work and you didn't realize you got bruised, banged up, cut and stuff because of the line of work that I do. And I enjoyed every moment of it, but, you know, by me stepping out on faith and truly uh, seeing what is out here. This is all God's doing. Everything that I ever could want is literally falling in place as it should. And that's why, you're gonna always hear me be a advocate of trusting your intuition. Always stay prayed up. Because if you can't be true to yourself, how can you trust your environment? Because you are the nucleus of your perception. Yes, we all have different viewpoints in life, but we all have a commonality of what we see and what we interpret. But it depends on what is being offered to be viewed upon. So once I got uh, once I got to my suite and finally took a breath, I found myself in thought. I found myself in reflection. And the one thing that came to the surface was, you know, very reluctantly, that there were people that were not happy for change. And it was very evident. Now, you have no control of what someone interprets, but you have responsibility of what's being perceived. That is why you always will hear people say, be mindful what you say, be mindful for what you wish for, because you just might get it. But really, that is nothing but manifestation. And what you put in is what you'll get out in return. So it is about the harvest. It is about truly understanding what you need. You know, and I think that will always be a battle within us all of trying to figure out how to navigate to what truth looks like, what we hold dear, what we need, you know. And you know, I've had people reach out, see how I was doing, and I appreciate that. But I also know that you gotta be mindful that you will have some people that will use your choices as their distraction. But here's the thing though, just like our elders said long time ago, when you was riding that little bicycle and swinging on those swings and on the monkey bars, and your elders would say, "Baby, you can be anything you want to be. Only thing that's keeping you from being who you want to be is you." And it's true. It's true because far too many times we get in our own way. Sometimes we allow situations and scenarios to trick us, to put limitations into our development and growth. And then sometimes, because of the situation of how it's being presented, we think that's all we can be. I'm here to tell you that's not the case. It's not. It's not. But there is going to be a price for that. Who am I talking to? You know that dream that you have right here? The one that you think is so far fetched, but you know that if you just truly claim it, it may revolutionize not only your world, but it also can change the world we all live in. Why? Because you're claiming your dreams. And that's the hardest part. But half the battle's done the moment you acknowledge that it is. Because wherever your dreams are, love is. So, you know, I'm 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 happy. I'm happy. It's okay. So, see, I'm watching. You know, you got to catch me sometimes. I'll go on a tangent. So, what ended up happening with my fur babies? With all reluctancy, um, Tyson got adopted with one of my coworkers, and I was really, even though I always made sure that their health was paramount, and but you know, Tyson was 7, and I didn't want to risk putting him on a plane, and it would be too stressful, and then he have a heart attack because of you know, for those people that don't know about commercial airplanes, they're they're uh they're pressurized to a certain limit, and depending on the model of the aircraft, they may not be temperature controlled in the baggage compartment, so it can easily get hot. Now imagine they got fur, so you know, so you don't want it, it would be very easy to overheat. I didn't want to take that risk, so you know, I thought about it, and one of my partners, he's a good dude, and I knew that I mean it took everything for me to you know to surrender, so to speak, because I didn't want to do that because I always envisioned that Tyson and Ming would both be here. Um, but I wanted Tyson to have the best quality of life. You know. As for Ming, Ming is still there in Virginia, still in Virginia Beach. Um, but I delayed his air travel until mid-September, October timeframe because it'll be a little bit cooler temperature-wise. And Ming is only he's not even 2.5 years old. You know, but he's just like a toddler. I mean, I because I both got them. I mean, their vet bills, their checkups were $600 a piece. And when I weighed when I weighed Ming to be only a little bit over two, Ming weighs um, 75 pounds. I mean, literally, he's ripped. And I'm like, okay, you're gonna be a problem. You know, I'm saying that in a loving way. You know, but well, I'm gonna end up by that time. I'm gonna fly back because I'm still working negotiations with the air courier that's gonna fly him, and then I'll go and then I'll bring him back. So, but he's ready to go. I'm just trying to be smart, because you don't hear about this a lot, but a lot of people go through the unfortunate experience of losing their pets because they overheat, you know, and you know, Ming and Tyson are they're my children. They just happen to have a fur coat on. So, what does it say? Um, oh, it was very hard. Because my partner Steve, he came over with his wife and his daughter, and just to meet Tyson. And Tyson um, came out. I let him out, and they saw him, and his wife pretty much melted. And then his daughter Camille is like 13, and Tyson saw her, and he just ran up to her, and he sat down right between her legs and just looked up at her, like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I knew that was a wrap right then and there. I knew that okay, it's okay. He's gonna be fine. But it took everything in my power to keep myself in check. And I was okay until, I put him in the truck. And then once I put him in the truck, he looked at me and I had to walk away because I broke down. I broke down. I didn't want to let him go. But I knew that, this is what God wanted. I could not be selfish and think about myself. I had to think about him, you know. So I did what was best. And I know that he'll have there I was kind of jealous too because, when I saw that, I was like, man, he didn't even think about nothing. He was like, bye. But you know, everything played out as it should. Yes. No, 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 no. Because think about it this way. Think about it this way. Think about everything that you've had to do that you deemed passionate about, that you knew you had to make the right decision, even if it directly did not have a long term effect. You know what I'm saying? That is the greater good. You know what I'm saying? And I just looked at it as, that was God's way of saying, listen, I brought you, I brought him in your life thus far. Now it's time for someone else to carry him on. You've done well. You've done your part. And I was, I was, I mean, I ain't gonna look. It took me a good week and a half to get there. It took me I ain't gonna lie. I mean, think about that. Think about if you're a parent. It's the same. someone saying, well, look here, one of your children not going. You got to pick. You know what I'm saying? That's how I felt. But because of the fact that, because of my travels and the journey that has been placed over my life, I know that I'm doing what God asked me to do. And I know it might sound kind of crazy to y'all, but listen, until you decide to ultimately trust something you physically cannot see, but you feel like you trust your breath. You can't see air, but you trust it'll be there. You trust your heartbeat. It's the same. It's the same. Sometimes you have to let go to go. But if this was a perfect world, it'd be right here with me right now. Let Tyson be right here. Me be right here. And we both be looking at you. I'd be like, sit there. But I mean, I've got my memories in my heart. I've got memories here on my channel, you know, and I will always love you no matter what. Yes, I agree. I agree. But I'm going to turn the page a little bit and change the paradigm. Has it not been interesting of what you see in your community? Who would ever think that we would be in a day and a time where literally people are losing their everlasting mind just to keep their pride, just to booster their ego, but don't want to be called on the carpet. You know, I mean, I ain't gotta tell you that. You just look outside your door. That's why now more than ever, family, it's very important. You gotta make sure that you're spiritually grounded. You know, just like we always would hear, every brother ain't your brother. You know, it's no different than beware of the sheep and wolves clothing, or or the wolf and sheep, because everything that you see is not what you think it is, and what's being required is that you discern through it all. And then the good thing about that is it is very, very important, family. If you don't know this word called know, that you apply it. Now we're in the times of being able to apply critical thinking in your decision making, because it will save you time, it will save you disappointment, and ultimately it will save you from financial strains. Now, granted, you're gonna have some people walking around thinking like you remember Prince had the song 1999. You know, I always everybody knows I'm an avid Prince fan, and I would always dissect his lyrics. But when you take that one song and look at the lyrics, interpret those lyrics, he's describing what's going on right now with the pandemic, and socially how it's had an influence on society. Just like you got a lot of people that want to step in the front and say, I'm this, I represent that. But what does your discernment tell you? They're not. It's not hard to do the right thing. But if you don't know what the right thing is, you will be misled. Exactly. Yes. And the funny thing is, people continue to overlook that Prince was very spiritual. He was very spiritual, very spiritual. But Prince, because of his artistry, he used to use a lot of cryptic and a lot of analogies in his uh, descriptions in his songwriting. So it required you to think or allow yourself to expand to truly understand what he was saying. You know, a lot of double entendres. He did, of course. Son of Time was one. Yes, 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 yes. You know, but that I I think out of his catalog, I'm missing maybe four albums. Well, maybe four albums. I've got everything he's made, even the stuff that was only released overseas. And you know, I got that when I was in the military, when I was in Europe, so I was able to get access to that stuff. But you know, he was well before his time. But you have a lot of talent that you know the more that they stay true to them, the more it went against the social acceptance. They got ostracized for it too. Well, because you're not promoting what we want. I mean, think about it. Think about all the people that have had really great albums, and like, wait a minute, where are they now? Where are they now? Now, granted, the artist has the right to continue their craft, but not everybody's got a bad contract. I mean, we live in this 2020. You think that you go on YouTube right now and find out the ins and out on how to navigate a contract to a certain level. You still need professionals to act on your best behalf, but still. But anyway, so I'm happy, even though it might not see that way, because what I am going to show y'all, I hope it, if it does anything, I hope it inspires you. I hope it does. I hope it will motivate you to continue to love yourself. Never squander your dreams. Never. Nothing. You know, you always would hear people say, well, that's a silly question. No question is silly unless you choose not to seek the answer. So I will tell you this though. Like I said, I got 8 days. Um, and then I'm clear to be out and about, and I'm gonna wear that phone out. I'm gonna wear my phone out with footage, put it out there, and then what I also am going to do, because I do have a video editing program embedded in my laptop that I invested in, and then I've got some equipment here that I'm going to be really getting into, and I'm doing this for each and every one of y'all. Because, like I said, when I say I love each and every one of y'all, I do. I want you guys to have the best life you can be afforded. But guess what? That will never come to be until you decide to claim it yourself. That's what being like-minded is all about. That's why you would always hear me say, when's the last time you told yourself, I love you? Because the moment that you decide to claim that, your life will be made new. I remember, and I mean that. I mean that. Because look, number one, you didn't have to give your time. You could have caught just bits and pieces of this, because look, I also know that, I mean, my subscriber base ain't even, I don't even have, I think maybe I got 400 out of, and I've been around shoot, almost 8 years. And I understand because that's the content. I understand that to some I'm too real, but I can only be me. It's just like coffee. Some people like tea, but doesn't make either one bad, you know. But and then on a different note, family, because I don't like talking about myself like that. But I will tell you this though. When I said that I'm going to change, I am. Everything about me is changing. One of the things that I'm going to do, and then if you're not subscribed to my other channel, Journey of a Man, please subscribe because I'm going to be putting a lot of content on that because I'm going to, um, I'm getting my ass right back in shape. I know y'all like, well, what do you mean, Jerry? You got a little stomach? No, listen. I used to be that guy that used to walk around with that 8 pack. I used to be just really chiseled and big. And when I hung up my military boots, and I can honestly say this, I was so delusional, and I know that was going through a form of depression because depression has always plagued my life. A lot of it had to do with um, how I saw life as a child and what those influences had an impact on relationships, you know. And I really think that um, that is a lingering lesson that I'm still learning because for y'all, like for a lot of y'all that don't know or do know, I'm still trying to uh, repair my relationship with my children. I say plural because I'm convinced I have a son. Yeah, his name is Alex McQueen, and I would love for you guys to get your opinion. Just go. He's a YouTuber. He's actually got a big following too. But yeah, and see the one thing about it is, like a lot of people, our lineage, my family tree, our genetics are very strong. Our eyes, our eyebrow, our jawlines, but our eyes, the eyebrow, you know, this part right here, we have that. But he's a he's a he's a I'm convinced he's my son. And he literally is a mini me. He just turned 27 um actually on the 22nd of June. And so I've been ever since I found out about him, I've reached out, you know, through his Instagram and but I've also tried to be respectful too because how would you react if somebody came out of nowhere and said, "Hey, you're related to me"? But that's the world we live in. That's the world we live in, family. And my thing, thank you. He's, and he does a lot of comedy and reaction videos and stuff like I said, go to his channel. He's got two of well, he's got a bunch, but his main one is Mega McQueen. And then he's got another one called Watch It with McQueen. And all I want you to do is just look at his thumbnail and tell me if he doesn't look like me. I would love to know. I would love to know. So, but I'm convinced. And the reason why I say I'm convinced is because the fact that um, the same feeling that I had um, with my daughter Brianna when I first saw her when she was born was the same feeling I got when I saw him for the first time. So that's when I knew that's mine. And what I'm not going to do is disrespect his life and what he or how he interprets his family structure. He has a dad, he has a mom, but the question mark is I don't remember his mom. But everything adds up time wise. And, everything that I figured out was I was just 24 years old, freshly, newly in, hadn't been in, I hadn't been in the Air Force a year and a half. And we crossed paths. And I'm thinking to myself, think about the mentality you had when you were 24 years old. You thought, one hand, you could conquer the world. And number two, you thought you knew everything, which means you know nothing. And that's where a lot of times you would hear me in the past say, you don't know who you are until you're blessed to see the age of 35. Because the mentality that you have at 35 should not reflect the mentality that you have at 25, because that requires growth. But anyway, I love each and every one of y'all. I know that you guys didn't have to be here. You didn't have to be here. Um, I do want to ask this though. Can I get a thumbs up? Hit the hit the like button. If you're feeling me, hit the like button. Because I see that you guys are there, but I ain't got no look. Thank you. Thank you. But listen, here's the funny thing, and I say this with all transparency, because this is the side of me that I don't like. I don't like showing. Not that I'm hiding it, but thank you. Um, when you feel like you have to constantly defend yourself in your back pocket, that means you're doing something right, and that's nothing but the status quo trying to convince you to fall in line to what they think. And listen, you used to always hear a lot of people say, "Well, you're a square. You're a square." Well, guess what? That's like comparing a diamond to a rock. When you're deemed that square, that means you're unique. And you should be able to walk in a room without saying a word and command it, because it is your uniqueness that will make you stand out most. That's why, Queens, when I tell you, you know who's most beautiful is the natural you. I'm talking about the you that just steps out of the shower. I'm talking about the you, when you got the crust in your eyes and your breath is like, whoo. That's what makes you beautiful. But the most sexiest thing about you is this. Because wherever the mind goes, the body flows. And whatever you keep up here will be transponded through your physical and then your emotion. But not to stray, and I know it's been over an hour. Um, Here's the funny thing. I know as I grow, as I continue to share, because I got a lot of ideas and stuff that I'm going to be doing. A lot. One of them is going to be Gerald Around Town, where I turn around and try different places, get the feedbacks of the owners and stuff as I'm discovering it, you're discovering it. But I am serious about my fitness. And I also understand there are going to be some people that are just, what Gerald doing? I'm like this. I'd rather have, if I was grateful to have just one person genuinely have my best interest than for someone to just tune in because it's something to do. Fly by night. And I say that because the person that's talking to you is the person that you would meet if it was divinely meant. Only difference is you guys would be like, wait a minute, because I am 6'2" and a half, 243 pounds, solid. So the camera doesn't show you that, but I'm definitely going to be getting into my fitness. Oh yeah, I want to get to the point where I'm walking on that beach with just on some shirt off, swim trunks, letting the sun bask on my body. I haven't decided if I was going to allow my hair to grow again. I haven't decided yet. My spirit says, let your hair grow again when it's time. Um, but oh yes, I am going to get my diving's license. So that's gonna be cool though, because I'm looking at investing in some equipment. So once I'm able to learn, once I'm able to scuba dive, guess what? You guys are going deep down to the mines of Minota. We're good. We're good. We're good. And see, that's the thing. New experience. You have to leave. You have to leave the things that don't celebrate your life where they are, even if that means people, which it can be the hardest to do. Because you never hear people talk about how do you divorce an emotion, but you always hear people you always hear people say, "Well, I divorced that relationship." Well, how can you have a relationship without an emotional connection if you don't decide to actually process what you invested in? Because nothing happens by chance. That's why it repeats itself. The faces change, but the experience does not. That's why Minnie Riperton used to always share the classic "Back Down Memory Lane." That's why you see people almost talking about entanglements. Really? You can't be entangled unless you choose to. So if you choose to, stand on it. Two wrongs don't make a right, but you do have to make a decision on what direction you wish to go. But I think that was the word of the day for the world: entanglement. No, there was no entanglement about that. That was a choice. That was a choice. Could you imagine on the flip side if the roles were reversed? I was in an entanglement. No, you wasn't. She had her legs wrapped around your mind. That would not fly. But I give them credit for being mature because it's nobody's business. But at the end of the day, it dictates how you sleep, you know. And but anyway, fam, I love each and every one of you. This is just the first installment of the Quarantine Chronicle. And like I said, when's the last time have you seen me go live? So you know I must really, really miss you guys. So remember, questions, comments, concerns, hit me up. Hit me up. Shoot, at a minimum, I got the next 8 days to interact because I'm getting excited for what is waiting for me outside that door, family. Can you imagine? I got my Jeep. Oh, goodness. God's good. God's good. You almost passed out. Why'd you almost pass out? Hmm? Why you say that? Are you hydrating? When's the last time you drank some water? Oh yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. See, I could have used my trusty cell phone. Oh no, 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 no. I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. You know, you ain't gotta worry about it. I claim mine, and I stand on mine. Don't worry about that. If I say I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. It might not be as on your timeline, but you can write that check. You can write it. It's gonna get done. But what I'm really excited about, I'm excited for two things. Number one, because I am going to transform mind, body, spirit, and I already know when it's all said and done. Bree's gonna be right here. Alex is gonna be right here. I can't wait for that photo. It's gonna happen. I ain't worried about that. I've already claimed it, and I know God is gonna provide. And then on the flip side, before I go, I also wanted to put to rest that, you know, I had that ancestry.com uh DNA kit. I bought that sucker about 4 months ago. It's sitting on my dresser. Sitting on my dresser, you know. Oh, I know it's gonna happen. I claim that. Um and I was thinking, I said, you know what? Because you know what? Give me 1 second, fam. I gotta pee. I ain't trying to be crazy, but I gotta pee. Give me to me. All right. And here's another thing too. I keep saying I'm gonna wrap this up in my hat. Um, the one thing that in the back of my mind, and you don't hear a lot of men talk about this. And I need to make this a topic. But another reason that I wanted clarity, because for a long time I was actually researching my family tree, because my family tree was kind of shrouded in, you know, I don't want to say secrecy, but it's just like, you know, my parents' generation, you know, the way they saw things and what they went through, they were raised not to talk about things that hurt, you know. And then, think of it as a child to a parent. You only know one projection of your parent, and that's what they tell you. And maybe that is to protect you for whatever reason, for whatever. But and usually it just stays that way, And oh yeah, oops, excuse me, soup coolers. I'm a drooler. Sorry. Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, think of it this way. I plan on scuba diving. I plan on owning a surfboard. I plan on doing a lot of. I want to discover everything about uh, this island. Everything. Matter of fact, the first weekend, because I start my, I come out of quarantine on the 20th. The 21st, I start it'll be day one for my new job. And, I have weekends off. I got weekends and holidays off. So that the first thing that I'm going to do um, that Saturday is I'm going to hike. I am going to go hike Diamond Head, and I'm going to film that. I'm going to film that experience, and then slowly but surely, you know, discover the island. I mean, here's the thing, and I could be wrong, but my thing is just where, like your community, where you're from, you should know everything about your community, everything, because that would be home. So that if there was someone that was not from there, you could say, well, this is what it has to offer. This is what's here. This is, we have said landmark, blah, 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 blah. You can actually be an ambassador for that. So, and yeah, I am. I've claimed that. I claimed that before I knew that I was flying. So, but my main focus is I want to get my body in optimum condition. Oh yeah, oh yeah, that's got to happen because there's this misconception in society that when you hit, I'm 51 now, 51. Don't feel no 51. Mm-mm. But I know what my body feels like when it's responding when I'm on all levels. And I got to get back to that. And that was something that I deprived myself when I was in another place in time. I don't have any regrets of the struggles that I went through because it was those struggles that motivated me to see my worth, you know? So I've got to do that. That's inscribed, that's embedded in my soul. That's branded in my spirit. I've got to do it. And, you know, and then with that being said, first year I'm gonna rent me a place. And then I don't know, I may be getting married next year. Who knows? It's whatever. Well, don't yell. We're across the bridge. But my significant other, you know, she's been riding down. She's been with me for almost 8 years, and you know, and her little guy, he's 13, and I came into his life when he was a little over 5 years old. Been there ever since. So it's also about setting the example of what the archetype of what you know. Because I was always a guy that was like, I don't do shack up, but God would not allow me to leave their side. He kept me there. But so this time next year, I'm buying a house here. So I will have real estate here. So that if I decide to live here 5 years, 10 years, or if I decide to come back to the East Coast, well, guess what? I got prime real estate in the most lucrative areas in the world. So that's a financial win-win, you know. But I miss you guys. I do. I do. But anyway, I hope to hear from you. I'm going to wrap this up, but I just want to let you guys know um, that I got here safe. I got here on the 6th, and I'm respecting my quarantine because everybody that comes to Hawaii has to do a 14-day quarantine. But the news just reported yesterday, the governor of Hawaii is trying to come up with a proposal that for tourism, to offset that, you get tested, and usually that test takes 5 days before the results, and then the documentation of that test, you bring it with you, and then you won't have to quarantine. So that's what they're playing with right now. Because I tell you, like I said, the economy here in Hawaii is taking a beating bad. Which on the flip side, if you got your money right, there's a lot of come up opportunities here. A lot. And you got to think about this pandemic. This stuff is going to play out for at least 2 years, fam. I mean, look at the housing market. You know, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of advantages to what's going on if you are willing to see it. I mean, just think about where you live at. How's the housing market where you live at? Unfortunately, the parable of one man's pain is another man's pleasure, and unfortunately, what I feel sorry for is those people that March 16th had sat down and signed a commitment to buy a house, sign their life away for 30 years, only to find out 15 days later that the career that they had just folded. But that happened. I'll do you one better. And I'm going to wrap this up. You realize how many, and this is something you guys got to really discern too. You realize how many people that are, we're going to use the word of the day, entanglement, are truly embracing that because of the pandemic. You realize how many people that were going to, prior to everything playing out like it did, had full intentions on getting divorced, moving, and then because of economic restraints, they're like, I don't have this job now. I can't leave you now because I literally don't have a pot to piss in, a window to throw it out, because my livelihood is non-existent. So technically they are entanglement because you're staying in a situation that can only do one or two things. It can either bring you closer or divide you more. But it doesn't exactly. But why put timing on your happiness? You know, you know, you know what the key for timing is? Truth. Just like Nicholas's character in Few Good Men. You got people that yelling, "I want the truth," but the truth is they don't want to hear the truth because it may go against their perception. Everybody says they want to be free emotionally, but don't want to invest in what it takes to be free, which is being transparent with yourself first. And you wonder why, that's why I can say I go to bed, wherever I lay my head, I'm at peace because I live right. I live right. And no matter what, I will not betray my happiness to keep you in my life. I won't do it. This is with friends. This is with family members. Because you got people that will try to project their perception on you, even though as a means of control. Right, you can't. They see that you're doing something, and you have people that want to project how they feel, and because you have a right to see things differently, they'll use their perception or projection as a tool of control because it makes them it 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 helps booster their insecurity, and that's why they talk reckless. That's why they act out, wasting all that energy when you could have saved all that time and money, effort, keeping it 100. So that's a true description of an entanglement. And what does it mean to be entangled? You snagged yourself in a situation that you had no control of, and you having a hard time getting yourself out of it. Well, what's the best way to get out of something that's tangled? If you can't untie the binds, you cut it. You cut yourself free. hmm And let me throw this in there because I hope I don't. What you're hearing is YouTube Music, the Music app. Once again, all media disseminated through this video is disseminated by the Fair Use Act. No rights, entitlements are procured by me, which solely go to the proprietorship of the artist, label, and distributor. Because I know they'll turn around and say, well, you didn't know. I'm using you guys' this YouTube music. I wish I had a sponsorship by YouTube as long as I've been there, been on, you know. Anyway. But anyway, family, I hope you're well. Please enjoy your Sunday. Take this day to rest, reflect, plan, stay grounded, always place the Most High first, always speak your truth. Because when you speak your truth, that defines the foundation that you stand upon, as well as unlocks the direction you're going. Stay blessed, family. Look forward to hearing from you. Peace.